This is another infographic instant with Brian Michael. In this episode, we'll be looking at the extent to which high net worth investors help pull up the affluent. Before we start the infographic, I should point out that none of these data come from us. Instead, they come from another study that you can see cited both in the infographic and in the paper. The infographic is part of a larger paper looking at the extent to which broker-dealers and private bankers can develop the wealth, the holdings of their customers, and the number of customers they have on their books. Naturally, we want to know from their perspective the extent to which having high net worth individuals helps to attract affluent investors and vice versa. Therefore, the data about the correlation between the growth of the high net worth individual class and the affluent class can help these wealth managers target better their services to these two distinct customer bases. Now, we see in the infographic that there is a high amount of correlation between the development of high net worth individuals and affluent individuals. Within the same year, we see that their share of the top 1% and their share of the top 10% of wealth from 1990 to 2000 correlates very well within the same year and relatively well with a one-year lag. Now, there are some exceptions to these data, and the exceptions, in our opinion, provide opportunities for marketing. Namely, these international wealth managers should see differences across jurisdictions and understand that if the correlation is high in one jurisdiction but low in another, then they will have to target their offering differently in those two jurisdictions. So, looking at contemporaneous correlation, we see strong correlations for most countries except perhaps for Spain and the Netherlands. So this suggests that offerings to those two groups, as a block, in that year may not be the best strategy. In terms of lag correlation, we see some countries like New Zealand, to a lesser extent the UK, Netherlands, and certainly France, they have much lower correlations. And so what that suggests is that the development of these two classes functions relatively autonomously, and of course we cannot know why from these data. Indeed, we can make no conclusion about causality from correlative data. But from a marketing point of view, it's irrelevant whether these data are causal or correlative. All we care about is how do we use these correlations to help define a marketing strategy in one particular year. And we know that for countries like France, we know that there's such a large difference between the growth of high net worth individuals and the growth of the affluent class that offering the same products, offering the same marketing materials to those two groups simply is not practical and probably won't have very good results. Therefore, these data can certainly help both these international wealth management firms and us understand how they can better target their service offerings. This has been another infographic instant with Brian Michael.